At SilverStone Suite at CES 2018 this year, we encountered a case that has some of the most airflow we've seen in the past year. And it's not any of the larger ones in front of me. It's actually one of the smallest cases we've ever seen. It's a Micro-STX case, and this product will probably never come to market, at least not DIY market, and there's a good chance it might not come to any market. So, yeah, they've added ventilation since we saw it at Computex, but there's a sad story behind this case. It's the RVZ04, and there's also this one, the VT-03. So we'll talk about those after this. Before that, this coverage is brought to you by Thermaltake and the Flow liquid cooler. The Flow is a 360mm radiator with 3 Ring RGB LED fans. You can program the fans for custom lighting through software, and then of course benefit from the larger radiator size and cooling performance. Learn more at the link in the description below. So for these cases, these are Micro-STX form factor. It was more or less created by ASRock, who make still some complete systems. So you can buy Micro-STX systems, you can get them with MXM GPUs, but the form factor is kind of going away, at least for the case industry. And a lot of that is because of, well, there's a few industry forces that don't necessarily make this happen. And one of them is on nVidia's side, the MXM form factor is kind of vanishing. They have good reasons for it. If you wanted to get an MXM card, previously, it kind of made sense because you bought laptops that had MXM cards in them. But these days, desktop GPUs are more or less just straight on the PCB for the laptop's motherboard. So why would you have an MXM card that adds height? So those are kind of going away, which also means that SilverStone's MXM cooler they showed at Computex will also not make it to market, which is another very sad story because that was actually a pretty interesting product as well. So this is more or less a graveyard of products right now. SilverStone does have stuff that's coming out, and we showed it previously. But I wanted to give some history on this. So for these cases, the Micro-STX form factor is 5x7. As I said, you can still buy complete systems from ASRock, but the future of that's kind of nebulous, and you're not going to be able to buy a separate case for it. You have to use theirs. SilverStone has the Raven look on their case that we showed ages ago in the Raven 02, one of the best cases we've ever reviewed. So they had that here, and they also, even since Computex, added ventilation to the top. It's a bit higher up. There's some more breathing ports on it. It still fits the 5x7 form factor. It looks pretty sleek. It's got plastic on it, and yet still manages to have airflow, which is more than we can say for nearly every case last year. That was, I don't know, about 8 times larger than this one. Not that I hold a grudge. But yeah, so it's just sad it's not going to make it out. That's the RVZ04, and this one just gives us a good example of what a complete system would look like. So this has a Micro-STX board in it. It's got an Intel cooler on it. You can fit small profile coolers like some of SilverStone's own low profile coolers, and then the MXM card. You could technically run integrated graphics for it, but MXM is definitely more power for you. The motherboard in this one, it's got 2 SODIMM slots. So if you wanted memory in there, you're using SODIMMs, just like on a laptop. And then on the back side of the motherboard, there are 3 M.2 SSD slots. You actually get a lot of performance out of one of these smaller 5x7 motherboards, and you can fit a lot of storage on it. You can fit 2 RAM sticks in it. So it's a fairly complete system overall. In this case, even has a slot for antenna to come out for wireless connectivity. And finally, just to show that this actually was planned to come to market, it has an RGB header on it. So there were going to be LEDs, I think, on the front of the enclosure. Yes, there's actually a kind of a V-shaped front visor for RGB LEDs. So they were ready. SilverStone stepped out of their norm, went with RGB, went with a gamer look, and it's just not going to happen. So yeah, we'll see what happens with MXM in the future. ASRock's going to keep trying to make their version of complete system Micro-STX devices, but kind of sad for these cases. We'll have more coverage of SilverStone, but pour one out for the RVZ04 and the VT-03, because this is probably the last time you'll be seeing them, unless we find something to do with it later. But that's it for this one. Subscribe for more. As always, you can go to patreon.com/gamersnexus to help us out directly. Thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time.